Good afternoon, Champaign, Illinois, and Urbana. This is part two of pre-planning for Williams Memorial Services, and the program is named Let the Truth Be Told, which is a wide-ranging program which will concentrate on not only business but society, community, sports, politics, and whatever feedback that we get from the audience. We'll always try to address any questions and any concerns. Our main goal with Williams Memorial Services and with this program is to raise issues and also solve issues. And with that, I'll introduce Sean Williams, who is the owner of the Whip Hair Design on 904 North 4th Street, and also newly opened Williams Memorial Services Limited, which is a funeral service business specializing in memorializing loved ones. With that, I'll introduce you to Sean Williams.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Sean Williams, and I've been the owner of the barbershop of the Whip Hair Designs for the last 13 years. During that time frame, we had me and my mom owned a restaurant called the Whip Cafe with a Taste of Soul right next door, and right down at J.W. Purvis Place, and then recently just opening up this business and just having a great opportunity to serve the community and providing funeral services for families, that working class families, and just trying to be a blessing to some people out there.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity, and in saying that, we've been able to do over here at the funeral home probably about 30 cases in about
At least 30.
about the last 8 or 9 months. So we're kind of picking up some steam and some momentum in the community, and seems to be respected and playing a different role as the barbershop.
Right.
But I used to do all the haircuts for all the barbershop, for all the funeral homes in town, and so I worked for several different funeral home owners in town and stayed right in back of this funeral home here for 10 years. And so not really new funeral business, not really so much new, but me acting in the role of an owner of a business is definitely a new role, and it's a great opportunity for me.
Great, great. So basically what you're saying is, in the past when you had worked, say for whether it be Deacon Hambrick or Owens, Heath and Vaughn, or even Pastor Perry for that meaning, it may have been a little bit more passive. Would you say that you're now, as an owner, that you're taking on more of an active role, one, and two, describe your role, everyday life, every day in the life of Sean the Undertaker?
Well, definitely taking on a more hands-on approach role, and doing a lot of more things with the funeral home business. That being said, I used to just do haircuts, and now I enjoy sitting down with our funeral director and sitting down with families and just discussing the lives of others, and trying to recreate that history and recreate that legacy for that funeral service, or that final time that we'll be able to memorialize people just the best way we can, and just assist the families in that process and educating them about the process of that.
Okay. I'll tell you, Brother Williams, part one of our pre-planning series dealt with pre-needs, and because we got such an overwhelming response and feedback about the pre-planning part, we've decided to do a part two, and just to give an overview for the audience that may not be very familiar with the funeral process, which I can't blame you, we weren't either just a year ago before we went into this venture. Just so we're all starting at the same place, the funeral process entails three parts. The first part is pre-planning, the second part is at needs, and the third part is the aftercare coordination and the grief counseling process. Since we haven't totally tackled the pre-planning, let's get back on pre-planning again, just because we've been hearing so much about it. With the fact that a funeral in the year 2010 going now into the year 2011 is $10,000 or more dollars, give our audience just the first piece of advice that you could direct or steer one that finds himself in this unlucky situation.
Stacy, it's ironic that you're saying that. Yesterday I put on my Facebook page, what do people think about insurance? Do you think you need it or you don't? And we had both sides of the coin. Some people said, hey, I've been paying insurance for such a long time and never used it. And then some people were saying it has come in handy for them and their families, whether it be accidental insurance or just your home insurance, but definitely life insurance. And it's a great thing to have at that time of need. That way that you can be able to cover the cost of that. That being said, that you said that it's about $10,000, and that's probably the estimated cost of a funeral service. We've done them for way less, way less than that, and just being able to kind of match up with families and their economical needs. But that definitely helps when you have planned and you have put something in place. And just that being said, getting a wheel together and kind of getting a wheel, sitting down with a loved one and somebody that's pretty responsible in the family, and just sitting down talking to them about what your last wishes are, and just kind of setting something up. Whether if it, we talked about last time on our last taping that we've seen some of everything. We've seen people write it down on notebook paper, and people wrote things down on an envelope, and just scratch paper, whatever they can get hold of, just to put down some last final wishes and kind of reiterate that thing with the loved one to say, hey, look, at that point in time, I want this particular casket, and I want this particular song or color. Today we met with a family and they said they wanted purple, white, and gold, and so just being able to get those small details to be able to memorialize that particular person at that last time.
Sure. And so often with pre-planning, I think we think about the at-need part. Oh, it happened, mom's gone, dad's gone, auntie's gone. But would you say that the pre-planning starts with dialogue and conversation initially? Don't you feel like loved ones have to kind of think of this process bilateral as, okay, I'll exchange my ideas with you, as opposed to unilaterally where I would only just kind of come up with my own wishes and kind of write it and put it in a drawer? Would you say that the majority of the time that it's done with more than one individual, or just someone does it by themselves?
Well, if you have a family, I would say sit down with the closest family members that you feel comfortable with about telling your business to, and telling them where are your papers, where are your insurance papers, where's your safety deposit box at, those type of things, so they can get to that important papers and be able to provide those for a funeral home, to be able to provide services. And it's always, even if you don't have a lot of family members, you don't have anybody, I would say get with a church pastor or somebody that will be responsible at that last time to be able to take care of those last wishes.
So basically entrust that while you're living and while you're of sound mind and health. Is that correct?
That is definitely correct. You would definitely want to put somebody that's going to be responsible. And not everyone's is going to be everything at that particular time, depending on how close they are to the loved one. It's very hard to think about everything. It's very hard to come up with loved ones and extended family, and to be able to get with a church program and some things of that nature, So kind of being able to make sure you include the uncles, and because it's a touchy time, and depending on how the death occurred, people's feelings are kind of and emotions are up in the air, and so you don't want to leave anyone out on a church program. We've seen that happen, and we made our own mistakes, and we've learned from those, and just moving forward, and so I think that you should get all those things together early. I think the earlier is the better, and it kind of takes a weight off. I mean, you've seen when we've dealt with pre-planning and insurance and kind of getting people together for their last final wishes, and when they seem to walk out of here, it seems like a ton of bricks are just lifted off their shoulders, and so just being able to help families in that type of time. And
I can definitely see where we've seen families wing it, and we've seen families come in with a real concrete plan, and the latter is definitely what I've seen to be the best experience for not only the funeral service professionals, but also the family members, and then the family members out of town and the immediate family members. It just really seems to make families more cohesive, as opposed to where services are, you may wing it, and it seems like we see a fracture in the family. Talk about when families seem to fracture.
Well, you know, we always like to start it out with a prayer. We believe in prayer, and we like to
Hold
start.
hands around the circle.
Yeah, we like to try to bring families together. I mean, it can be a time where you can really bring a family together, or you can really tear a family apart. And I think what we try to do over here at Williams Memorial is try to bring families together and kind of pull them together at that type of time, because everybody needs someone to kind of hold on to at that particular time, to just, you know, just to feel like you care.
Right.
You know, and so we play a great role in that process of bringing family in and trying to get family members to play a certain role in that particular service. You know, whether it's reading a poem or singing a song, or maybe even reading out the eulogy. I mean, the stroll of life. You know, and just talking about their loved one. That seems to always help when you're able to just talk about your loved one and kind of think about those great times that you used to have. And I think we sit down with families, and I think that's kind of the start point when we first meet a family. Tell me about your loved one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we started. Is tell me about your loved one. Let's find out who we have and what their life consisted of. And I think everybody's important. I mean, everybody's important. I mean, whether you're just a regular old factory worker, or whether you're the superintendent of schools, or
Pope John Paul II.
yeah, or Pope Paul John Pope John Paul II,
Yes, sir.
or Michael Jackson, or whoever you are, you're important. And I think that your funeral service should reflect on who you were.
Yeah, we all deserve that day, and we get caught up in the news, and we get caught up in work, and caught up in other people's business, but it's all about sometimes it being our business, and what better time to take care of your own business than when you're of sound mind and health, and have the faculties and the tools to make that happen.